Well, hi, I'm Paul Katzeff. I'm CEO of Thanksgiving Coffee Company. I've been involved with creating great coffees for the last 48 years. And I have a certain long-term relationship with cannabis, having spent the last 48 years living in the heart of the Emerald Triangle. I've grown marijuana. I've smoked. I've talked about it. I've watched the plants grow, and I'm happy to be here right now with Ali Stoddard, who has a background that she will be happy to tell you about. So, Ali, so how did we get together? How did this happen?
We got together.
Before you answer,
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you that it's nice to remember back. I was thinking about doing CBD, actually THC in coffee.
Yeah.
And I was saying to myself, I earned the right to do this. I've been right here for 48 years in the middle of the Emerald Triangle. But how do I get involved in it? I mean, it's a whole different thing than just growing a couple of plants for my family. And then the next day you called me.
Yeah.
And you can take it from here.
Well, so
And also, please talk a little bit about your background after you answer how we got
yeah.
together.
So interestingly enough, I understand and I understood. I have a medical background. I was in orthopedics and oncology and surgery, and have a good sense of what clinical studies are, etc. And so my medical background took me to cannabis. I was selling topical pain creams, and I'd go up to close to Humboldt County, and the people up there would say, "Can you put cannabis in those pain creams?" And what the heck, no. And then I got to studying it, and found that the cannabis pain creams were better than the pain creams I was selling from the compounding pharmacy. So my background is medicine. But my passion is holistic healing. And I got into plant-based medicine at that point because I wanted to get out of traditional medicine, conventional, and I wanted to get back into something more holistic. And so when I learned about, and the cool thing about CBD, that's the one part of the plant that's the master regulator in the cannabis plant. There's THC, that gets you high. CBD is actually the master regulator. And it's the master regulator because we have a system in our body, Paul, that makes a CBD-like molecule and a THC-like molecule. And this regulatory system is what uses the CBD to do many things in the body. Anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, neuroprotectant, which it means it's protecting the nerves in the deep brain. So I looked at the cannabis plant and I went, wow, there's almost 800 different nutritional components, cannabinoids, terpenes, flavonoids, and then there are things called amino acids and polyphenols. And all these things that are in the cannabis plant are supercharged in the cannabis plant. But I went out and I said, what other plant out there can we marry this with? Because my mentor, Dr. John Hicks, has done much research on CBD, and his point is if we can get 5 milligrams a day of CBD into our body, that's a maintenance dose that we can start balancing the system. We can reduce inflammation. We can it's an antioxidant. So there's so many different healthy things that the endocannabinoid system, the studies that have been done on the endocannabinoid system, almost 80% of all those studies have been done in the last 3 years. So this is all new medicine, all new science. But I know that there are nutritive values in the cannabis plant, and there are nutritive values in the coffee plant. There's amino acids, and there's polyphenols, and all these really great L-theanine, all these really great nutrients in the coffee plant that when you marry them with the CBD plant, you're going to get a big benefit. And that's what we're seeing with your coffee. So the universe brought us together.
Yeah, but why did you call Thanksgiving coffee?
Because
I mean,
you-
there's so many coffees out
I
there.
know. You know why?
No.
I was trolling
That's
the
why I'm
internet.
asking you.
I was trolling the internet, going, and your coffee came up. I mean, literally Thanksgiving coffee. I'm like, who's this Paul Katzoff? Wow, he's saving the horses in the West, and he gives money to Diane Fossey in Rwanda. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is the guy. So I looked up your coffee, and sure enough, here's a guy who, taught the growers all around the world how to grow sustainably, give them fair trade. You have beautiful coffee, your award-winning coffee. Oh my God, you're in Northern California.
And you called me the day
I called you.
after I was saying, how do I do this? How do I get into this?
The universe brought us together.
Absolutely. And
Right?
so tell me about your relationship to George.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
Because
My relationship, so I knew Dr. Moskowitz, who is part of George's consortium. He's a pain management physician here in town, and so he introduced me to George. And then when I found out what George is doing, then I'm like, well, that's it, because the Holy Grail is finding the guy who knows how to grow. And then if you can extract it very beautifully in a cold process, because think of it like this way, olive oil is cold processed, right? Because we want to keep the nutrients in the plant, in the medicine. That's what George does. He has a beautiful genetics, he grows it very nicely, and then he extracts it without chemicals with a cold process. That's where you get to keep all the nutrients that are in the plant in your CBD and marry it with your beautiful coffee.
Coffee has 1,600 different chemical compounds.
There you go.
It's one of the more complex.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting when you said that there were how many, 800 or
Over 800 that they've found, but nobody's looking at the amino acids, the polyphenols, and the vitamins. And when we put those two plants together, when we start to really get really specific and technical and in our lab testing, I think we're going to see a lot more. So this is what I find with your the CBD coffee. Normally I can only have decaf coffee. Makes me jittery. I get a crash. Even decaf coffee makes me jittery sometimes. Your coffee doesn't. And but with CBD, there's no jitters, there's no crash, and it's a very clean, crisp focus. It's very different.